Welcome back to Euro Roundup, where we take a look at all the other results coming from the European continent. And today I'm joined by a very suave-looking Michael McCubbin. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. And yourself?
Good. I'm not too bad. A great weekend. But we're here to talk about the football. And our first suggestion comes from @722 Magnus. Who is our first winner, Michael?
Well, it's Real Madrid. And that's because they won 3-2 at home to Malaga on the weekend. They were on our losers last weekend. Now they're in the winners. And it's thanks to a little-known man called Cristiano Ronaldo,
very little known,
who scored a rebounded penalty to get only his second league goal of the season. Obviously, this is a very well-documented drought. It took him until October, I think, to get his first.
Yes, it did.
Taking him pretty much another month to get his second. But having said that, Madrid were dominant. They had 3 times the amount of shots on target, then third from bottom Malaga. Zidane's men also completed 6 dribbles compared to Malaga's 2, with Benzema getting a third of those. So an impressive performance from the Frenchman. And of course, Toni Kroos on form again. Also put in a solid performance, making huge 7 tackles and contributing 5 key passes. So you can see where the creation was coming from in that Madrid side. But it wasn't as simple as that, was there? There was another team involved in this game.
No, the win wasn't as convincing as it seems, as again Madrid struggled at the Bernabeu. Yes, Real Madrid allowed Malaga 9 shots on goal and let them back into the game twice, cancelling out Benzema and Casemiro's goals. And they looked like a much weaker side, with Navas, Asensio, Ramos, Bale and Modric all not starting. While Zidane can focus on the positives of Benzema and Ronaldo's first home league goals, he's apparently under a lot of pressure from the board, and Real Madrid president Perez is apparently unhappy with their playing style and visited the manager after the game. Now, I also want to give a shout out to Malaga's keeper, who was very close to saving Cristiano Ronaldo's penalty, and apparently, according to this, made 5 clearances / saves. So take that how you will. Now, despite the win, Real Madrid have barely eaten into the 7-point deficit between them and Barcelona at the top of the table. And with Atletico Madrid winning 5-0 away at Levante, Real Madrid dropped to 4th place on goal difference. But we want to know, will Real Madrid even make the top 3? Let us know by voting in the poll right now.
We go down to the French Riviera now, to the Principality, Monaco, our first loser this week. This comes in from @Maddie_CHH. Why are they here, Zach?
Well, Monaco lost 2-1 at home to PSG to bring their total losses this season to a whopping 6. And it's safe to say PSG dominated. They had 66% possession, 18 shots to Monaco's 8, putting 5 on target to Monaco's measly 2. Now, Monaco's only goal came from João Moutinho's free kick, where it actually hit Kylian Mbappe. I was surprised it didn't count as an own goal. Yeah. And it's safe to say he did not have a great return back to Monaco. You'll talk more about him in a bit. The Portuguese also managed to make 5 tackles and interceptions throughout the game. Monaco, though, have now scored in their last 9 league games. Only Marseille are currently on a better streak in the French top flight with 18. Now, another powerhouse in midfield was Fabinho, who made 7 tackles and interceptions and completed the 2nd most passes in his entire team. Real Madrid and Manchester United are supposedly looking into acquiring him next summer. But Michael, tell me more about the away side.
So as you heard there, Monaco putting in a shift, but they were not good enough to match PSG, who were frankly incredible. They've now only lost once in their last 34 Ligue 1 games. That's against Nice back in April. That's pretty crazy stuff. That's like ridiculous. Arsenal 2004, Chelsea 2005 kind of form. They are on absolute fire. And like you said before, though, Mbappe didn't actually have the best return to his old club. He missed 4 big chances. That's the most in a Ligue 1 game this season. And he only managed to put 1 of his 4 shots on target. And obviously, like you were saying, he was at fault for Monaco's goal. But nevertheless, PSG was still on fire. They've now scored 45 goals after 14 games in Ligue 1 this season. That's their highest ever tally at this stage, and the best in Ligue 1 since Saint Etienne's all-conquering side 1969-70, when they got 46 goals. Mate. And according to my calculations, I think that's 47 years that record has stood for. So yeah, you can kind of see where this PSG are standing in French football history now. But is it any wonder? Cavani, Neymar and Mbappe all in that forward line. Probably one of the best forward lines we've seen in Europe in recent years. The Uruguayan on form once again. He scored yesterday to take his tally to 22 goals in 19 appearances in all comps this season. So he is having, in the form of his life really, having now overtaken Ibrahimovic's record. And Neymar as well, also on form. Had 3 shots, 1 on target, also managed to score. He also completed 8 dribbles after attempting 14.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it is ridiculous, but also it's not surprising because Neymar has genuinely been putting up those kind of numbers every single game this season.
He's averaging something like 7 a game.
Yeah, it's pretty unreal. He also hit the woodwork, meaning that Paris have now hit the woodwork 12 times in Ligue 1. 12 times. So not only have they scored 45 goals, they've also hit the woodwork 12 times. It's unreal. More than any other team, obviously. But yeah, how do you think PSG will do for the rest of the season? Will they win Ligue 1? Looks very likely. Will they win the Champions League?
That is the question.
That's the big one. That's what's on everyone's lips right now, isn't it?
Yes.
Let us know in the comments below.
We stay in France for our next winner, and this one comes from Ian Stafford 10, and he suggests Lyon. But why is that, Michael?
Well, that's because they thrashed Nice 5-0 away on the weekend to keep some sort of pressure on PSG and Monaco. Obviously, PSG 8 points clear now. But nevertheless, good win for them against a Nice team who are struggling, like in the relegation zone now.
They are.
After such a good season last season. What is going on there? But anyway, Memphis Depay on fire this season. He scored 2 before the half-time mark, in this game. He's now scored 8 goals in Ligue 1, and all of them have come away from home, having scored all of his goals last season at home.
Oh,
which is interesting, but perhaps irrelevant. Who knows? But what is relevant is that the last time Lyon were leading 4-0 at half-time in a Ligue 1 game was all the way back in November 2003.
Oh, flip it.
And guess who their opponents were then?
PSG.
No, it's Nice.
Ah.
The same ones who they're playing this weekend. So that's funny. And the other 3 goals came from Cornet Mariano and an 18-year-old Maulida. Very impressive. Mariano as well, I was reading earlier. He's the top scoring Spaniard in Europe's top 5 leagues, above Morata, above all the other Spanish players.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, he's got 10. I think Morata's second on 8.
Yeah, not bad.
And all this also came without Fekir on the pitch, who is averaging 1.3 goal involvements a game. So if he was on the pitch, there would have at least been another one. So yeah, very, very impressive stuff from Lyon. And in general this season, you would have thought Lacazette leaving in the summer might have had an effect. In fact, they've been scoring even more. 15, I believe. 15 more goals than they scored at this stage last season. They had 22 goals at this stage last season. They got 37 this season. But despite that massive scoreline, Zach, apparently the stats show that it was a more even game than that would suggest.
Yes, Lyon actually only had 51% possession and 11 shots compared to Nice's 10. And both teams had around 500 passes each. But Lyon were far more clinical. Yeah. Lyon had 7 shots on target, Nice had a measly 3, and all of them came from Mario Balotelli. And all but one of his shots came from 35 yards out. So it was very much a typical Balotelli performance. Though this is a really bad result for Nice, as they currently sit, as you said, in the relegation zone in 18th place. In the last 8 league games, they've lost 5, won 1 and drawn 2. Though they have qualified for the next stage in the Europa League. So every cloud has a silver lining.
So they say. So for our second losers of the week, we go over to Germany, and I'm sure you all know it. It's Borussia Dortmund. This comes in from @Mattia97. Zach, talk us through this absolute classic of a game.
Well, for the first time in years, Dortmund weren't the favourites going into the derby, having had 5 losses and 3 draws in their last 8 games. Though Schalke under 32-year-old Domenico Tedesco had 4 wins, 2 draws in his last 6. Now, for US fans out there was a lot of excitement going into this game as 19-year-olds Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie started in the derby. The first pair of teenagers to ever start against each other in a Bundesliga game. And they also...
American teenagers,
yes. And they also spent Thanksgiving together on Thursday. So, isn't that sweet? Yeah. However, Dortmund scored after 12 minutes through Aubameyang, who joined Tony Yeboah as the highest scoring African in Bundesliga history. Wow. Then BVB added 3 more within 13 minutes through an own goal, Goetze and Guerrero. Schalke, though, should have been down to 10 men as Thilo Kehrer was yellow-carded and then committed 2 more fouls before being subbed off at half-time. Tedesco, though, had already made 3 subs by the start of the second half. Harry, Goretzka, both came in but after 33 minutes and Stasic at 45. Michael, though, what went wrong?
Well, those substitutions obviously worked because At half-time, Dortmund had 8 shots with 4 on target, all of them going in. Schalke had just 1 with 0 on target. In the second half, it couldn't have been any more different. Schalke had 11 shots in 45 minutes, 7 coming on target, while Dortmund could only muster 3 with 2 on target. Benjamin Stambouli and Yevhen Konoplyanka got both assists, while Aubameyang was sent off after a bad challenge on Harit. Bear in mind as well, he also missed an open goal on 55 minutes that could have made it 5-0. So a really bad day at the office for Aubameyang, despite a really good first half performance. Schalke are now only the second team in Bully history to come back to 4-4, or to come back from 4 goals down. The last one was Bayern back in 1976, a very famous victory. That was 6-5. I did write about this once. I think it might have been against Mainz, although don't quote me on that. But to be honest, if the ref had got his decisions right, the game may have been over already by that stage. Schalke now sit in 3rd, 3 points above rivals Dortmund, who are now 5th. And Dortmund are just on the most horrendous run. Truly horrific stuff. They've had just 1 win in their last 10 games, and that was against a 3rd-tier side in the Cup. They're out of the Champions League. They blew a 5-point lead at the top of the table. Now Bayern have taken the initiative. They lost at home to Bayern and Leipzig, explaining how they've lost that lead. And they lost away to two of the 3 promoted sides, and they've conceded 22 goals. I mean, this is like, talk about Everton in the Premier League. Dortmund are giving them a run for their money right now. Peter Bosz, unsurprisingly, is widely expected to be sacked now. But who could replace him? Tuchel coming back, maybe? He's still out of a job. Jardim from Monaco. What do you think? Let us know down below.
Our final winner, thank God, because I am freezing up here, comes from @SFinley, and he suggested Borussia Mönchengladbach. But why is that, Michael?
Well, they are having a fantastic campaign thus far this season. And James Wayne behind the camera told me to say this, so I'm going to say it. They are glad to be back in the winners this week. Fantastic joke there.
Please keep going.
But yeah, they beat Bayern Munich 2-1 to put themselves in the Champions League spot. So good stuff all around from them. They can consider themselves a little bit lucky though. Bayern did have 72% possession in this game. They also had 25 shots and 8 of them going on target, whereas Mönchengladbach only had 7 shots in total and just 2 on target. So clinical, lucky, depends on your point of view there. Thorgan Hazard had another great game, got the first goal from the penalty spot and has now had a hand in 7 goals. That's 5 goals and 2 assists this season. No player at the club has scored as many goals or had a hand in as many goals as him. So yeah, a bit of a talisman this season, Hazard. Defender Ginter got the second just before half-time on his 150th appearance for the club.
Really good.
So good way for him to celebrate. And arguably man of the match, made 5 tackles and interceptions, won 3 aerial duels, and obviously scored the winning goal. So yeah, good stuff from him. This ends an unbeaten run of Jupp Heynckes, though, which stretched to 30 games going back to his Bayern Munich, his previous spell at Bayern Munich. And Zach, tell me a bit more about the run he's been on so far this season until now.
This was the first match Heynckes had failed to win since he's taken over, ending his 9-game unbeaten streak in all competitions. And to be safe to say, Bayern were just not at the races. The team made over triple the amount of passes Borussia made, with 620. The Polish striker, Robert Lewandowski, managed 8 shots, but only put 2 on target and hit the woodwork. Though the Chilean was their brightest spark. Vidal made 9 tackles and interceptions, 3 key passes, and scored their only goal. He has now also been involved in 3 goals, 2 goals and 1 assist in his last 2 league games. Bayern remain top of the Bundesliga, 3 points clear of second place RB Leipzig. It's safe to say this was just a bump in the road.
We finished this week in Rome. Final loser is Roma. This has been sent in from @JuliusCaesar72. Why is that, Zach?
Well, it's a bit harsh in my opinion. They drew 1-1 with 17th place Genoa, and it saw Roma slip to 4th. El Shaarawy gave them the lead, but Lapadula levelled it up with a 70th minute penalty. The penalty was given after De Rossi gave it away and saw a red card after slapping Lapadula. Or, as James says behind the camera, Slapadula. Yeah, send him a tweet. They're rubbish jokes. Anyway, Roma actually have the joint best defensive record in the league with Napoli after conceding only 9 goals in just 13 games. That is actually very good. Yeah. But they're just not scoring enough. They do have 24 goals, but it's the 6th best total in the league. And it's no surprise as they're 8th on shots on target per game. And in this game, they only managed 4, the same as Genoa, despite having 67% possession. And the form of Edin Dzeko is a bit of an issue. He does have 7 goals and 2 assists, but he hasn't scored in the league since the 1st of October. Now, Michael, tell me some more about the Romans.
Well, away from Serie A, where I think actually they're doing quite well.
They are.
It's just that those top 3 are in such good form that they're just going to be pretty hard to catch. And compare Roma's season this season compared with, say, AC Milan,
Exactly.
who today announced that Vincenzo Montella's been sacked after drawing, failing to score in a 4th consecutive home game.
It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they're actually doing pretty well, and their form compared to other European teams is showing in the Champions League group, where they're second behind Chelsea, they're above Atletico Madrid, look like they will beat them into second place and go into the next round, because they have Karabakh at home in their last game.
Should be an easy win.
It should be, yeah. In theory, it should be. And yeah, like I said, they keep their 4th place this weekend because rivals Lazio were denied a win by a last-minute VAR penalty against Fiorentina.
VAR.
Yeah, coming back to bite once again. So yeah, and in the league they have coming up Spal, Chievo and Cagliari, all very winnable games, before a big trip though to Juve on the 23rd of December.
Some great Christmas fixtures coming up.
Yeah, really is. I think that's the same
ones.
day that El Clasico is happening. So yeah, that weekend's going to be an absolute cracker. No pun intended there. That was genuinely not a thing.
God.
But do you think they can get back in the title race? I feel like they probably will have to beat Juve in that game in order to do so. Do you think they can do it? Or is it just between those top 3 at this moment in time? Let us know in the comments below.
So that's all the time we have for the European fixtures. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below and tweet us what you thought. Handles are on screen right now. Michael, what should they go do next?
Well, they should head over to FD, where it's the 3rd training session of FDFC. Oh yeah, go and watch us.
There's a little bit
great.
where me and Chris Hamill get absolutely ruined.
Yeah, that's classic. That's so good.
But yeah, check it out. Yeah. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.